DSP hands down has the worst Wolverine take. Oh boy, can't wait for this. Hey guys, how are you all doing today? I'm doing pretty great, but right now I have a question. What comes to mind most when you hear the name Darkseid Phil or DSP? No, I'm being genuinely serious, like who is this guy? Because my goodness, if he is as bad as his Wolverine take that we're about to go in and watch, I feel like we're going to be making some content on this man. But just to clarify once again, because there are some people not getting it, I myself am not certain at this point that Wolverine is going to be a success because of the behind the scenes work, and obviously Sweet Baby Inc. is working on the game. However, one thing that I am impressed with so far is how violent the game is and how tonally appropriate it is for a Wolverine game. I'm happy that we are not getting Spider-Man again. However, from the sounds of things, this guy thinks differently, so let's get started.
Hold on. So for the record, alright, when Wolverine debuted, he was a violent character, but this is before the era of ultra-violent comics.
Okay, Wolverine was always violent then, even before it became the trend in comic books to be excessively violent, and this game is violent, so what's the problem? If you yourself just conceded that Wolverine was always a violent character, you're already fighting an uphill battle.
So when he debuted, he had claws and everything, but he didn't really kill anyone. His first fight was against the Incredible Hulk. Later on, they changed the character, and his origin story is that they did all these experiments on him, and he loses control. He becomes this kind of berserker, and he does kill a whole bunch of people in a gory massacre. Okay? Later on, Professor X meets him, and essentially what happens is Professor X helps him come to terms with this bestial nature that he has. Yes, he does get berserker rages, but he controls them. He uses them for benefit and for good, rather than for mass slaughter. Like, the entire time that Wolverine was in comics, he wasn't just killing hundreds of people, okay? Literally, the opening scene they just showed is Wolverine, and it appears to be the modernized Wolverine. This isn't the classic Wolverine. That's Wolverine in, like, his outfit when he used to live in Canada. And he just ripped a dude in half.
The character in question that Wolverine kills is heavily armored and was likely deployed by a third party to hunt Logan down. You're acting as if Wolverine in the trailer caused mass genocide just like the Nazi Reich against innocent civilians, when in reality that's not the case. We won't get full context on these kills until the game fully releases. However, from what we see in the trailer, Wolverine only kills people who are posing a threat to him. Unlike characters like Captain America or Spider-Man, Wolverine has absolutely no issues resorting to killing if it means protecting himself or those that he loves and cares for. Going on killing sprees isn't going to make up 100% of the game. We will see moments of Logan in his downtime, where he is more relaxed and kind and interacting with those that he cares about. And even by your own admission, the Berserker Rages are something that Wolverine has learnt to channel for good, and as a result, this could very well be the case in the trailer. We're given very little context, so you don't know for certain. Time will tell.
First of all, I wonder who is voice acting him. I don't recognize the voice actor, and that's shocking that I don't recognize the voice actor, because usually for a game like this, they would pick, like, a known voice. Like, I'm surprised it's not, you know, a big name who's doing it. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe he's doing it. Maybe it's... that's what I mean. Is it Troy Baker?
The voice actor for Wolverine is not Troy Baker, although if I'm being honest, that wouldn't be the worst choice in the world, since he has quite a lot of experience with superhero projects, such as Watchmen, as well as the Lego DC films. The voice actor for Wolverine that they went with was Liam McIntyre, who has quite a lot of experience with superhero projects, as he voiced Aquaman in Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, and he voiced a couple of characters during the Justice League animated movies, such as playing Captain Boomerang in Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and Aquaman once again in Justice Society World War II. He also starred in the CW Flash TV show, and from the video game side of things, he was in 2 Gears of War titles, as well as Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so he's got quite a repertoire under his belt. I will be completely honest, Liam McIntyre definitely wouldn't be my first choice for Wolverine, but I'm excited to see how he grows into the role.
Number 2, that game is ultra-violent.
Well, no fucking shit.
Like, insanely ultra-violent. Like, that's wild, the amount of violence and gore in it. And obviously that's going to be rated mature. There's no way that's going to be a game for kids, but all the kids are going to want to play it, right? So what I'm wondering is, number one, did you see how many times he stabbed someone straight into the brain and murdered them? No, that's not the character. That when Wolverine is going on a berserker rage because either he's like about to die or something happened to a loved one, right? Near and dear to him, he'll kill like that. But that's not the standard character. The standard character is, he is an X-Man, a hero. He wasn't always, but he is not some kind of vicious brute killer who just murders everyone around him. Did the people who made the game actually ever read the comics?
Already it's becoming very difficult to take your point seriously because of how contradictory you are. You say that he isn't a violent character, but that at one point in the comics he was a violent character. So how is the violence in the trailer contradictory to the source material? Especially since once again, every enemy in the trailer that he brutally executes is a character who is either heavily armored or is armed with a weapon. And Wolverine himself would be the first person to tell you that he is not a good person and that his morals are more twisted than that of your average superhero. Where do you think the iconic line, "My name's Wolverine, I'm the best at what I do, but what I do ain't very nice," where do you think that line comes from exactly? You yourself even justify the berserker rages, saying that it is acceptable for Wolverine to enter this state of feral aggression if he is about to die or if someone close to his heart is indeed in danger. This could very well be the case in the trailer. I mean, for fuck's sakes, we see him taking on groups of armed henchmen that have body armor, fairly certain they would put his life at risk, especially as some of the guards, like the one with the helmet in the tundra, has an experimental electrified weapon that could very well pose a threat to his adamantium. It wouldn't be the first time that happened in the comics.
Now here's the thing. Maybe the plot is, maybe the plot is, not only are they all out to brutally murder Wolverine, but they murdered his family members or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of silly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this is not in line with the character.
We've already gone over in the video how you yourself conceded that Wolverine was always a violent character, even before ultra-violence in comic books became the norm. You also conceded that Wolverine's berserker rages are indeed justified under the right context, which unfortunately we won't get until the full game is released. As a result of this, I'm gonna have to reject what you just said.
Wolverine should have, if there's going to be a segment like that, let's say in one part of the game, he has a romantic interest and they get murdered. Now he loses control and there's an entire hour of the game where he's lost control and you brutally murder people. Okay? That would make sense. But literally what they're showing you here, it looks like it's the standard gameplay is he just rips people apart. Brutally and gory, putting his claws through their brain and jaw and murder them. You rip the guy's body in half. Like, huh?
There are two things to consider here. Number one, what you just proposed could very well take place at the start of the game, which therefore justifies Wolverine being ultra aggressive for the rest of the campaign. Or you could have Wolverine and other mutants, such as Jean Grey and Mystique, being pursued by an anti-mutant task force throughout most of the game, which unfortunately forces Wolverine out of retirement and forces him to enter berserker rages, perhaps against his will. These are things that could very well be in the finished product of the game. As a result, you making comments like this prematurely is a bit weird. Have you ever heard of the concept of don't judge a book by its cover?
And I'm not saying that Wolverine has to be non-violent, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this doesn't seem representative of the character, that he's insanely gorily, brutally massacring people.
We've already gone over how the people that he was brutally executing ain't exactly innocents. They were hunting him down. Every single character he kills in the trailer was heavily armed and would have likely killed Logan had they got the chance.
Especially with the hit that they had with Spider-Man, right? You would think that they'd want to make another game that Spider-Man crowd would want to play. But now, by making it like this, they're completely isolating that audience. Like, they're not going to be able to play it because it's so gory and adult-oriented.
This comes across as you being dishonest, since none of the 3 Insomniac Spider-Man games are aimed towards children. All 3 games are rated M for mature in America and are PEGI 16 in the UK. Largely because, despite having a character as light-hearted as Spider-Man, the games themselves still have some pretty fucked up content in the game, dealing with topics such as suicide, global pandemics, as well as gruesome kills in the case of Spider-Man 2. Not to mention, it was reasonably common for the villains, as well as Spider-Man himself, to drop words that could be labelled as profanity. Obviously, the 3 Spider-Man games are not on the same level as GTA 5, for example, where you can just walk into strip clubs. At the same time, to make the argument that Spider-Man is aimed for kids and they just won't enjoy the Wolverine game is freaking stupid.
Six Harvey says they're robots. Oh yeah, robots that bleed giant buckets of blood, right? Oh yeah, robots. That there's flesh ripping off of them. They're robots, you're saying.
I would have preferred the term clankers, personally. That's not a slur, I recently got into Star Wars. And once again, you yourself have conceded that Wolverine is justified for killing under certain circumstances. Time will tell whether he is justified for killing in this game.
So, I don't know. Like, the movement looks good, right? But I don't know about the game yet. Like, I'm going to reserve my judgment till we learn more about it. But unless, like, literally unless this is a plot line that's meant to be a unique time in Wolverine's life, this is not representative of who the character is. And the fact that we haven't had a Wolverine video game in, like, over a decade, and that's what they're going, it could be a little concerning. Do you want everyone to think that that's what Wolverine is, just a mass murderer?
Once again, it's hard to take your point seriously when you contradicted yourself in the same sentence. You say you're gonna reserve dropping an opinion on the game until you find out more information on it, but you're also, once again, very concerned that the game is too violent. You yourself even acknowledged what I said earlier in the video, how the story could very well give context as to why Wolverine is acting so aggressively, which ultimately begs the question as to why you claimed he was so violent in the first place.
He's not. He actually is a hero. I understand he's an anti-hero from the 90s, but once he joined the X-Men, he changed. He was like that before he joined the X-Men. So is this before X-Men? Maybe it is. Maybe it's a prequel story. If that's the case, okay, I guess. All right. I guess we'll have to see.
Yes, the story could very well take place before the X-Men are established in the Insomniac universe. Then again, that might not be the case. Only time will tell. I can understand why people were saying that DSP has the worst Wolverine take, because at the very least with people like Ranting for Vengeance, they are very clear with their stance on the topic, even if their stance is something that is hard to take seriously. With DSP, on the other hand, his take is all over the place. He acknowledges that the game could very well provide context as to why Wolverine is acting violent, and he conceded that Wolverine was always a violent character, yet he's also complaining that the game looks too violent, which is a blatant contradiction to the take that he said in his reaction to the trailer. Maybe he'll have a different opinion on the game when Wolverine finally drops, although after doing a bit of homework on the guy, it's safe to say he won't get the game unless his viewers buy it for him. I'm the Gaming Rift, I thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a great rest of your evening. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.